dropping. Feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning.
Hello everyone and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph and you've got the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Eric King, and we are live from virtual Pocono Raceway. It is time for the Horizon IndyCar Series, and boy Rec, do we have a treat. 5 rounds down. We're roughly at the midway point of the season, and we're back at one of IndyCar's classic tracks. It's Pocono, baby.
Yeah, the midpoint's always a nice time to evaluate how far we've come from the opener and to visit one of IndyCar's largest circuits.
Yeah, it's one of its largest. It's one of its most historic. It is part of the historic Triple Crown. So Pocono Raceway, built in 1965. It opened in 1969, the tricky triangle as it's known. And the reason, Ryan, it's so tricky is there are 3 corners. Do not debate Chris Wilhite on this. He will tell you there are 5. But there are 3 corners. Each one of them is different. Turn number 1 on the 2.5 miles, 14 degrees of banking. It is modeled after the first turn at the now defunct Trenton Speedway. The second turn, the tunnel turn, 8 degrees 6 minutes, and it is modeled after one of the corners at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, almost exactly. And the third turn, wide and flat, 6 degrees of banking, and it is modeled after a corner of the Milwaukee Mile. So 3 corners replicating 3 historic turns from 3 different tracks. They are connected by 2 different straightaways, the longest of which, other than the front stretch, is between turns 1 and 2. It is known as the Long Pond Straight. The backstretch between 2 and 3 doesn't really have a name. It's just called the backstretch. And the trickiest corner is the second one, Ryan. You got to be on your toes when you go through that replica of Indianapolis.
Yeah, because it might be a replica of Indianapolis, but you're entering that corner at so much slower than you would at Indy. So under every circumstance, you have to be flat out through it. But you don't want to be side by side with someone.
No, you don't. And the reason you don't is because unlike Indianapolis, which is symmetrical, the exit, that corner here, is not symmetrical. So it appears to be very wide, very fast as you enter. You are going slower than you would approach a corner at Indianapolis. And Ryan, it's almost like somebody slams the door. You're driving through a funnel, and there is no room when you exit that thing. And if you come off of there side by side, odds are somebody's not going to make it.
Yeah, someone's either going to push up into the wall or push up into the car on the outside, and you're going to have a multi-car incident.
And that really sets you up for turn 3. Turn 1 is very much, I almost reckon it more like Michigan would probably be the corner that I would compare it most to. You can get through there too wide. It does favor the high line. All bets are off when you get to turn 3, though, because, Ryan, it doesn't matter whether you run that thing high, you run it low, you run it in the middle. All you want to do in turn 3 is get some clean air.
Yeah, you want to get some clean air. I like to ease into it, let off, and coast in a bit early, just so I can get on the throttle as soon as possible, because you want to get a good run down the front straight.
You most certainly do. Speaking of good runs here, the track record is held by Ryan Briscoe. .9009 seconds. That was set in the 2014 Pocono Indy 500. And we are just about done with qualifying. We thought, Ryan, that we were going to see some speeds that approached the track record, and lo and behold, we've got a couple of guys under it. Nate Fields and Matt Wagner both topping the outright track record. That's something that we're going to get into a little bit during the race, because we've got a little bit of a new car coming, or a little bit of a new car we're playing with here, and so we're definitely going to talk about that as we go through the show tonight. So we are just about ready for a grid, Ryan, and I think we should give the people what they came for just as soon as we have it available. How about that?
Yeah.
On the pole with what would be a track record, Nate Fields, 220.696 miles an hour. He'll line up next to Matt Wagner. Wags also under the track record speed, 220.663. Row 2, Alex Miller, Gary Lovern. Row 3, Chris Albrecht, John Primetime Stellar. William Holman and Indy Kirchenbauer, the Prodigy, will make up row 4. Eric Peterson, the Dark Horse King, he'll roll next to friend Craig Forsyth. They're going from 9th and 10th. In 11th, it's Andrew Surawak. He'll be flanked by Luca Tedesco. Luca had a really good qualifying run come up for naught in the Horizon race on Sunday. Brandon Domingue, Lith Fox, row 7. Brandon Staten, Matthew Carroll, row 8. Jeff Heisong, Wayne Campbell, Brian Greenlee, and Sam Cosner will round out your top 20. 21st, Kyle Clinworth. His lap, I would charitably describe as intentionally slow there, Ryan. 170.465 miles an hour. Mason Mitchum, Micah Mixer, and Joseph Morales. None of them set qualifying times. That is your starting grid as we get ready to rock and roll here at Pocono. This is going to be a ton of fun, Ryan. I can't wait for it. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. We've got Paula Scory in. Do want to thank her for tuning in to cheer Clindy on. Neptune Z4P. Thank you so much. And yeah, this track does have a long history of IndyCar races. We're going to get into that a little bit. Yes, this is the place where both Robert Wickens was seriously injured. Also, unfortunately, it witnessed the fatality of Justin Wilson. So IndyCar fans have some mixed feelings about Pocono, to say the least, don't we, Ryan?
Yeah, without a doubt.
But then again, I mean, you know, you can talk about that all you like. The fact of the matter is, the most revered speedway on the schedule is also probably its most deadly. Indianapolis is by far one of it's probably the most deadly circuit in the world. So, you know, take the past strategies here at Pocono, if you will. It's not the track's fault that those two things happen, by the way. But we are set and ready to roll here, Ryan. Down the Long Pond Straight they come. Nate Fields on that pole position. He's going to have Wags, Miller, and Lovern behind him. I'll tell you what I'm going to be watching. Gary Lovern has been on a tear recently, finishing the top 5 in a stacked. Think about this, Ryan. That Horizon IndyCar Series race, or not Horizon, the Votive IndyCar Series race last Sunday from Milwaukee. We had 40 cars sign in for that thing. The strength of field was over 4,000 in a 40-car field. That's insane. That's insane, right? That's unheard of. That's like a Lionheart Series race right there. And so Gary Lovern finished 5th in that race, did very well. Nate Fields is going to come off of turn number 3. He's going to lead him down toward Barney, who's got the green flag in the air. It is a wave, and the green flag is out, and we are underway 115 laps here at Pocono. No fan out here, Ryan, as they come through the start.
Yeah, everyone's staying tight, two file, get a bit of spreading through one.
Everybody just kind of minding their P's and Q's. We've got a car blinking down there that appears to be Eric Peterson. He has disappeared for the moment. We'll keep you apprised of that. Matt Wagner has already moved to the front of this field. We got a car on the wall in the back. That looks like Jeff Heisong caught a bit of the fence on the turn 2 exit. And already you see him fan out through turn 3. Everybody wants the clean air, Ryan.
Yeah, and we're going to see people making moves early because think about Pocono. The further you get into a run, the harder it is to get around somebody.
Yeah, I was talking to drivers before the race. We're going to see fuel runs here anywhere between 28 and 32, 33 laps. If you're Craig Forsyth and you get the fuel mileage of a Volkswagen Beetle, look for him to go 35 or 36. Everybody else, anywhere between 28 and 32, as Fields and Wagner begin to trade the lead. But they were all saying to a man, Ryan, once you get to about 15 laps, it's all you can do just to stay in line. The thing is going to become very slippery. You're really going to have clean air, and you're really going to have to pedal. Here comes Indy Kirkenbauer. He drops to the bottom of Alex Miller. That's a battle for third. Wags going back for the lead on Nate Fields.
Yeah, and Kirkenbauer gets the toe up to third to really secure the position. Now can he find a place in line? No.
No, and that's something that's very much unique to tracks like it's not unique, but it's something that happens at Pocono, Indianapolis, Michigan, Fontana. You can build such a huge run at those places. Look at Gary Lovern go, speaking of runs. He gets a huge one all the way around the bottom by Kirchenbauer. He's going to pull up next to Alex Miller, but watch what happens to Lovern. He's stuck on the bottom. He has no help, and they're just going to draft right by him on the outside, and that was the point I was going to make. Ryan, you almost have to make a pass around the outside here because if you don't have the draft going down these long straightaways, they're just going to blow right back by you going down the next straightaway. Kirchenbauer moves around Miller. He'll go to third. Lovern in a battle with Chris Albrecht now, back for that 5th spot.
Yeah, and you'd be remiss to feel that, things are single file, but the moment they head into the corner, they look for a move.
They do indeed. Here comes Chris Albrecht. He's going to go down to the bottom. He's got Gary Lovern up top. Lovern is going to go way up to the high side. Alex Miller, the car in front there, Ryan, he's about where you want to be through Pocono Turn 1, right about lane 2. If you're looking at the paving seams, you want to be about lane 2, the preferred line in turn number 2, right around the bottom, just like Indianapolis. And the preferred line in turn 3 is anywhere you can get clean air on the front wing, Ryan Eric King.
Yes. Because you need as much downforce as you can through that relatively flat corner.
You do. Now, Albrecht's going to pull underneath Lovern and try to get past Alex Miller. That's the defending series champion, the number 1 on the side of that machine. But you see what happened? He couldn't get going. Indy Kirchenbauer is going to go for the lead on Matty Wagner, by the way. He just can't get enough going on the inside line down a straightaway, and Alex Miller drives by him and now pulls out to a little bit of an advantage. And now Lovern on the attack against Chris Albrecht. Just like that, 7 laps down. Ryan Eric King, we do want to thank everybody for joining in. Nice crowd on hand tonight. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you too can be involved in all of our high-quality iRacing broadcasts. It is Week 13, and that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit during the broadcast. This car got a huge update, Ryan.
Well, Could you get me up to speed? Because unfortunately, I was out of the country last week.
Ryan Eric King on assignment from Jalopnik.com, probably driving around cars for either the Queen of England or the Sultan of Brunei or whatever he was doing. But the update to this car was that they upped the horsepower, and so I mentioned that I mentioned that there were a couple of cars under the outright track record here. That is abnormal. Usually when we come to Pocono, qualifying speeds are in the low 41-second bracket. We beat that out by 0.3 of a second here. We were doing some private testing at Indianapolis, and I'm told that we are right in line with what the actual cars are doing. The best one lap speed this year for the iRacing Indy 500 somewhere in the 231 mile an hour range. Here, this week in testing, we've observed 235 miles an hour. So they've definitely upped the power. You see that Lovern and now Andrew Surwack have moved past Alex Miller. So too Chris Albrecht. And Miller is now the story. He's fallen back into the clutches of primetime John Stellard, who's running in the 8 spot. Speaking of cars on the move, Ryan, it's worth noting Kyle Clinworth. He started this race in the 21st spot. He is currently 16th, working on Lith Fox for 15th. Now, I will say this, Ryan. Given its nature, Pocono almost always turns into a fuel mileage race. How many of these guys do you think are saving fuel? We know that Wags, Kirchenbauer, Nate Fields probably are not. Neither is Chris Albrecht. But there's got to be some cagey guys back here that have this thing turned all the way down, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it has to be. And we're going to have to wait until deeper in the run to know for sure. Like, especially, you mentioned the upped horsepower, meaning that it's easier to stay with someone and save because you just get up to speed and you just coast in someone's draft.
You do indeed. There's Clindy. He has fallen back off of Lith Fox at the moment. We're going to go see if we can't find another battle, and it's right here at the front. Chris Albrecht has dropped to the inside of Nate Fields. He'll make that move going down the long pond straightaway into turn number 2. To make this in 3 stops, it's pretty simple. 429 lap runs. All right?
Yep.
Now, you would need to get 38 laps a tank to cut a pit stop. I don't think anybody is going to be able to do that. The advantage here is going to be, do you stay out longer and try to gain track position that way, hope that you get a lapper that comes out in front of you and can pull you along? Or do you short pit right at 20, or do you pit right at 29, just run 429 lap stints and be done with it?
Oof. I'd probably stay out longer because you never know what's going to happen during a pit cycle. It's sort of, you want to put yourself in a position to shorten that last stop. And, whether you do or not, it kind of doesn't hurt to try.
Craig Forsyth now drops the inside of Alex Miller. We've seen Alex Miller really fall back here, Ryan. Does that seem to... Whoa, and Miller up in the fence.
Yeah, he just seemingly went into the back of Forsyth.
Yeah, and he's missing... Alex Miller missing the left front wing, and that is not going to do him any favors. He's going to pull down to the inside. Alex Miller into the back of Craig Forsyth, a graze on the fence. He's going to come in. He shouldn't need to take his fast repair for this, but this is not good news for Alex Miller. Not only is he going to have to pit off the sequence, and we will cover this stop, he may well go a lap down, Ryan. I was about to say Pocono is not a typical oval in that, like Indianapolis, you do not lose a lap. and you don't lose a lap pretty much from anywhere in the field. It is worth noting as we watch Alex Miller make the painful slog down pit lane, 55 miles an hour. He's going to stop. Car's going to go up, and he uses his fast repair. He's also going to get tires and shell fuel. It's worth mentioning the front two have broken away. Matt Wagner, Indy Kirchenbauer, they are about a second ahead of Chris Albrecht, and there goes Alex Miller a lap down already. He's going to need a caution. Kirchenbauer and Wagner, they're swapping for the lead. Miller is going to blend in right behind this second group. The second group is led by Chris Albrecht, then Nate Fields, Andrew Surwack. A lap down, Alex Miller has joined them, and Gary Lovern is hanging onto the back of that trio as well. You've got to go another 2 seconds back you've got to go another 2 seconds back to primetime John Stellard. He is out of the draft envelope, and then he's got about 0.8 of a second back to the rest of the field, which is led by Craig Forsyth, and they're all in a conga line there. We've got a car on the wall. It's Brian Greeley. He's hit hard by Lith Fox.
All right, man.
Caution is out. High song on the wall hard. Peterson hard. Caution. Lith Fox on his lid, and that was all started by Brian Greenlee. And we need to get the Wayback Machine out and see exactly what... Well, it might not have been Greenlee. It might have been Matthew Carroll. I saw a car, Ryan, as we were talking about Craig Forsyth, go up into the fence. It almost looks like an equipment failure on the Matthew Carroll number 64 machine. He's in the wall, and watch. He comes down, and nowhere for Greenlee to go. Cosner gets through. Peterson into the back of High Song. And it's on from there. Lith Fox gets to ride on his lid down the speedway. You know what's, or not Lith Fox? That was Greenlee. Let's get back in here and we'll watch from Brian Greenlee's perspective exactly what happened. That's a huge break for Alex Miller because he's going to get the lucky dog. He'll be able to come back around and get on sequence. And now the question is, who pits and who doesn't, Ryan?
Man, I mean, we're pretty much at the edge of the window.
We are at the edge of the window in terms of being able to make it if you save the mess out of your fuel. I hope Brian Greenlee isn't in VR because that would have been bad. We're about to see though who is gonna come in and who's gonna stay out, right? To pit or not to pit? That is the question.
Leaders are coming in.
They're all gonna come. Everybody down the pit lane. The entire field. I don't see anybody that stayed out here, Ryan.
Yeah, pretty much the only person who stayed out was the one we were expecting to, Alex Miller.
And there he goes. He's going to get the lucky dog, and he's going to chase this thing around. And I'd bet you he stops and gets himself a new set of tires and fuels up as well. You're going to want those because in the event of a long run, my man, you're going to need them. Down and away goes Matty Wagner, Indy Kirchenbauer, Andrew Surwack, Chris Albright, and Nate Fields are your top five leaving pit lane. Do want to thank all of the series sponsors, 4D Racewear, sim racing, hats, shoes, gloves. If you can wear it when you sim race, go to 4DRacewear.com and 4DRacewear.com and buy it. Jim Herrick will get you fixed up. I've got the gloves. I've got the shoes. Don't have a hat, though. What I really want is one of the rings that Jim gives away for winning one of the Triple Crown races. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Get you a giant 4D Racewear Championship ring. We've got one of those coming up. We're getting close, Ryan, to announcing the second running of the P1 600. That's going to happen in early June. So just kind of mark your calendars for that one. I think you should run it.
Oh man, yeah. If I'm home, I'll definitely try.
I think you should run it. We need to see the wreck in a race car, but hopefully not wrecking his race car. We'd also like to thank Taupe Soaps. Explore the benefits of Paddle Soap for your skin. Experience rejuvenation and freshness with our top quality soap products. Use the code Horizon for a buy one get one free deal. That's taupessoaps.com. taupessoaps.com. Promo code Horizon. Buy one get one free with a promo code Horizon. I know I enjoy my my Pato Award. So my wife is a huge fan of that, by the way. She loves the Pato Award head in the soap dish. Always got to keep your spouse pleased, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
It is worth noting Mason Mitchum has ejected from the session, so Mitchum will be credited with 24th. Everybody else has got their cars fixed. Carroll, Greenlee, and Heisong are going to be a lap down here. Alex Miller got the lucky dog, and now it's just a matter of awaiting the pace car to pull on off. We've got a big crowd on hand one more time tonight. Do want to thank everybody for tuning the Horizon IndyCar Series in. You're listening to Mark Murphy and Jalopnik.com's Ryan Eric King. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing action. It's week 13, so there's not a lot going on. Tomorrow night, we're going to have the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. They are going to be going off, Ryan, from, let's see, where are they at? I'm calling that race. I need to know where it is, right? They are going off at Las Vegas. And then on Sunday, we're going to have the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. They'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard. The Dark Horse TW12 Series will be at 8. And then next week, we'll resume normal programming here on P1. Matty Wagner is about to resume normal service in this one. He's got the field under his command. Pace car is coming off, Ryan. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and we're about to go back racing at Pocono.
Green flag, green flag.
You see Matthew Carroll there in the back. He's moving all the way out of everybody's way, and that would indicate to me one more time, Ryan, that he experienced an equipment failure on his machine, and that's why it went into the wall. It's also worth noting that I thought I saw Kyle Clinworth had moved up into the 12th spot. So Clindy continues his charge, and there he is. Further back in the field, though, Alex Miller's got a point to prove. He had dropped back into the back half of the top 10. The defending series champion had dropped all the way back to the back half of the top 10. Alex Miller got his lap back, and he wants to start coming back toward the front, Ryan.
Yeah, because we saw it during this first stint out on track, how the field eventually split into two groups, and you don't want to be left stranded in the second group.
You do not. You want to get as far forward as fast as possible. Speaking of as far forward and as fast as possible, let's hop on board Alex Miller. Let's have a look at his telemetry. 224 miles an hour as he enters that wide turn number 3. He's got Lith Fox to his inside. That's going to give Alex Miller the preferred position as they hurtle down the front stretch. You're going to see big speed here, Ryan, going off into turn number 1.
Yeah, especially with the guys drafting up to Wagner.
Yeah, 230 miles an hour. You see Miller just about lane 3. He'll come down the back. He'll come down the Long Pond straightaway. He's got Joseph Morales dead ahead. Now here, he's going to go high. That's just to get clean air, but look how narrow that becomes on exit. He gets to the outside of Morales, down the back straight and into turn number 3. Now he can't go all the way to the inside because he has Morales there, but he'll slingshot past Morales using that draft down the front. Move Miller up one more spot. He'll get to 16th, and he's got a two-wide battle between Sam Cosner and William Holman in front of him. Holman gets past Cosner. You got the best seat in the house for that one. And Miller is trying to draw in on 14th and 15th as we talk. Meanwhile, Clintworth has moved up into the 9th spot, and Clindy has got the steady march going. He started 21st. He is now 9th, Ryan, and he's working on Craig Forsyth for that 8th spot. So here becomes the question. Mr. Rec, and we've got to ask it. You ready?
Yeah.
It's 32 laps to make it home on 2 more stops. 32, 32, 32. That would include the caution laps that we've done. I don't know, Ryan. That's a pretty stiff ask, right? Still, you think?
Yeah, it is a stiff ask. Though, if you try to stretch out this stint as far as you can, and maybe another caution comes out, you could make it.
You could. You're going to need the caution to fly at the right time, like the right time for that caution. We're watching Gary Lovern. The front 5 have detached from Lovern now. They're about a second up the road. That's Albrecht, Wagner, Kirchenbauer, Surwack, and Nate Fields. They've got nearly a second in hand over Gary Lovern, and he's got primetime John Stellard all over his rear wing, and they've got about half a second between themselves and Craig Forsyth, Kyle Clintworth. Rounding out that top 10 is Brandon Domingue, and then there's a gap back to Luca Tedesco where the rest of the field is in line. You got to kind of wonder, to make that 32 lap deal. We've got enough time. If it stays green, the front of this field is running 0.4 of a lap quicker than Gary Lovern. I don't know, my man. That's you might lose too much time.
That's true. You might be going too slowly to actually capitalize on it.
Yeah, and Pocono's huge, right? It's a 41-second lap, but my Ball State math tells me over 100 laps, losing a half a second a lap ain't going to get you there. And so it appears as though Lovern and John Stellard have now turned up the wick. So too Craig Forsyth. If Forsyth is going the same speed as the leaders, which he essentially is now, that tells me he's not really interested in saving fuel, does it not?
No, not at all.
It does not. And these two, Stellard and Lovern, they've kind of broken away a little bit from Forsyth and Clindy. The battle at the front, though, is pretty much as it was. Wagner and Albrecht are swapping, and little by little, they're inching away from Andrew Surwack and Indy Kirchenbauer, and then those two are inching away from Nate Fields, Ryan.
Yeah, like I mentioned just at the restart, the field is kind of splitting into 2 groups.
Yeah, it most certainly, not even 2 groups, it's just starting to string out. What happens is we've been out here now 11 laps on these tires. The leaders have a huge advantage, Ryan, when it comes to handling, because when you're out front, you've got the clean air on the front wing. You're able to handle a lot better than the cars following in your wake. If you're second, you can place your car where you want and not be worried with dirty air either. Anywhere from second on back, you're getting a face full, and it's really turning your car once the tires get hot in a pretty ill handling machine. Now that we get a little bit deeper in the run, and this is about where we saw the pack start to break up earlier. To Woes 888, hello. There were 24 starters. Mason Mitchum has re-entered the lobby, so all 24 are out on the track. Hysong, Greenlee, and Matt Carroll, that's positions 21 through 23, are 1 lap down. Mitchum is 4 laps down due to a disconnect. 20 cars remain on the lead lap, and those 20 cars are covered in about 8 seconds. So I would look, though, for Ryan, for this to be atypical. Pocono usually is more or less pretty packy. You can't pass in the pack, but you can't really get away from anybody. This is abnormal in that we're seeing cars be able to escape one another.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. Can't really put a finger on why this is happening. It could be because of the added power. It could be because of the setup for today. And I have to just ask the drivers when this is all said and done.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You know, Woes wants to know, if it's how many cars usually start. This is about an average field for the Horizon IndyCar Series. This is a league race, and as you mentioned, Ryan, it's a fixed setup rate. It's a fixed setup league, so the setup is provided by the league. It is not it is not the iRacing setup, so it's a custom fixed setup. And leagues really try to do this. I think it's probably a mixture of the extra power with the updated car. This is really the first time that we've seen Indy cars on a super speedway since the new build, right? I mean, heck, it just came out today or yesterday. It just came out. So this is really the first time that we've seen the new build in anger. They've updated the tire model. They've added some horsepower. The goal this time was to get the IndyCar into a position where the lap times were equivalent to what the real life car would do. And we saw that in qualifying here, the front 3 under the track record set by Ryan Briscoe in 2014. So what you're seeing is, speed-wise at least, a representation of what you would see if these cars came here in real life. In the past in iRacing, they might have been as much as a half a second slower. So you're now seeing what these cars will do. You'll see what these cars can do in real life here. And yes, it is tested before the race. There was a test session last night. I participate in those sessions, by the way. Ryan, you should too. We can have us a little commentator race.
Okay.
We can have us a little commentator race. But yeah, there's a test session that occurs the day before. That the league hosts, and these guys are able to come out and run it. Some do, some don't. Some do private tests. And if there's, they'll take feedback, and if there's, questions about the setup or, things that guys might like to see tried, they'll make adjustments. But the goal is to produce something that's drivable, but also competitive. And the goal in this series is to produce a driver's car. Right? What Matt Wagner and the league admins do not want here is they don't want something that's just, put it on the floor, turn her left, and, a pack race. They do not want the old IRL race, so to speak. And you're seeing that here. The front 3 have now broken away, and really the front 2. Nate Fields has fallen a couple of seconds adrift of the leaders, and it's just down to Wagner, Albrecht, and Surawak, and Nate Fields is going to come under fire from Indy Kirchenbauer here before too much longer. And here's the thing, Ryan, when they lose that draft as the leader of the line, you once again become vulnerable, don't you?
Yeah, because you don't get the straight line boost you get from the toe that you normally would. So the guy behind you immediately has an advantage.
Yeah, he most certainly does. And it's not like you've got the conveyor belt in front of you to pull you along. So Indy Kirchenbauer trying to build that run. The prodigy, as we call him, is hunting down the 4th spot from Nate Fields, and he's pulled a little bit away from primetime John Stellar now in 6th. So Kirchenbauer has a little bit of breathing room. It's worth noting also that Craig Forsyth has a bit of an advantage back to Kyle Clinworth. the defending series. Clindy is the defending series, not the defending series champion, but he has won so many of these leagues. He is the points leader by 3 over Lith Fox. Matt Wagner resides in third. He's 15 points adrift. Hunter Ingrav, who is not here this evening, fourth. Brandon Staten is fifth. But Ryan, Clinworth has kind of run into a wall here.
Yeah, where seemingly he's just stuck.
He is indeed. He's got Gary Lovern behind him. There you see Gary in the Votive Racing League machine. Notice Kyle Clinworth is painted in a Votive Racing League sponsorship. He is not a member of that team, so he may or may not be racing with those guys. But there's Lovern in 9th. Wayne Campbell runs along in the 10th spot. He started 18th, so high marks to Wayne Campbell. He's moved up 8 from his starting position. Brandon Domingue runs along in 12th. There's Brandon. He's up a couple from where he started in 13th in the Tony Stewart liveried IR18. William Holman is in 12th. He's dropped 5 from his starting position. Luca Tedesco, there he is, right around where he started. Tedesco, again, had a fine run in the Votive Milwaukee race, only to see that go up in smoke with a connection issue. But there he is in 13th. Brandon Staten, again, 5th in points, the Horizon Racing League entry. He's running as a teammate to Matty Wagner here. Staten is 5th in points, and so keep an eye on him. He's right around where he started. We talked about the woes, the trials, and tribulations of Alex Miller. Pitted for a front wing, got himself a lap down. He's back on the lead lap. He is 15th after starting 3rd. Sam Cosner is 16th for the Votive Racing League. Lith Fox, there he is in 17th. And I got to think that there is more to come from Lith here, Ryan. Second in the point standings. He does not want to see a big finish from Kyle Clinworth and him run 17th here.
Yeah, it would not be not be ideal.
It would not. Remaining lead lap cars, Joseph Morales, there he is. He's 19th. And Micah Mixer runs along in 20th. And he is very much, Micah Mixer, a road course ace. Very much learning these ovals. But there he is in 20th. And so those are the cars who are on the lead lap. As we get back to it, the lead still being swapped by these two, Matt Wagner and Chris Albrecht, and they've managed to sneak away now 3/4 of a second on Andrew Surawak. So, Ryan, speaking of the update to the car, as we watch Wagner and Albrecht circulate, I mentioned earlier we've done some private testing at Indianapolis. I mean, where do you go? Where do you go when you get an update to the IndyCar and iRacing, but Indianapolis, right? Track that the notebook for Indianapolis for all of us is pretty thick. We went there last night, and I won't tell you who. But somebody on the IR squad cut a lap at 235.9 miles an hour.
Hauling the mail.
It was fast. So, it's one of those things where, all of these drivers are going to be learning, and the guys that are in this race tonight, they're going to have a huge advantage over their peers when it comes to next week. Because next week the officials are going to open back up. The Horizon IndyCar Series is the only race this week on the channel for IndyCars. But next week the full slate is absolutely going to return. We mentioned you're going to have the Dark Horse, you're going to have the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. round at 3 o'clock on Sunday. You're going to have the dark horse round at 8. We're not really going to learn much about new build from those races because those are legacy cars. Those aren't being updated. But Monday night, we're going to start learning. The IndyCar series the IndyCar Open Series top split at 8. The Indy Next Road Series top split at 10. Those are going to be both from the newly added Ryan Eric King St. Petersburg.
Feels like a long time coming to finally have St. Pete on the service.
It most certainly does. Tuesday night, we're going to have the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Homestead, Miami. And that'll be immediately followed by the Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Twin Ring Motegi. The Horizon IndyCar Series, the Area 51 Series is off next week. The Formula Super Series is going to go at 8:20 from Circuit de Manicourt in Vive la France IndyCars to Formula One rules. Those are always fun. They're at 8:20. The Horizon IndyCar Series is off. The Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series is off next week. They have a race. They have a race tomorrow, but they're off next week. We're gonna have the Trucksters live on Friday night, 8:20 from Darlington. No, and then the iRacing IndyCar Series makes its return Saturday at 2 o'clock, and they will be live from St. Pete. We're watching Kyle Clinworth. He has moved into 7th. He's made his way past Indy, and he's going to set sail on Craig Forsyth, who is now 6th. It's worth noting in the chat that Chris Albrecht hurt his hand hurt his hand about a month ago, and that is cutting into his performance. I can vouch for that, Ryan. As you know, I raced with a broken hand for 8 weeks several years ago during top split running, and everybody's coming in now, lap 48, and they've made it exactly 29 laps. Everybody is hitting pit lane. I'll give you 3 guesses, though, as to who stayed out.
Man.
Craig Forsyth remained on the speedway, as did Kyle Clinworth, Indy Kirchenbauer, Gary Lovern, Wayne Campbell, Brandon Domingue. They're still out. So Forsyth, remember, they got to go 32 laps to cut the stop, Ryan. You think he's going to do it? Forsyth's going to go another.
It is going to be, the margins are going to be razor thin. I'd be surprised if he makes it.
It is worth noting he's about 0.6 of a second off his fast lap and nearly a full second slower than Kyle Clinworth's fastest lap. But he's got a friend, right? He's got primetime John Stellard, who's come off a pit lane, and he's able to draft behind Stellard, and all that does is help Craig Forsyth. He'll go by John Stellard here. Is he going to go for another? This would be the start of the 32nd circuit, and he is. You're going to see Wayne Campbell give up the ghost. He's going to come down the pit lane in the background along with Brandon Staton. Lith Fox also on pit lane. So they made it 31 laps. But on lap 32, it is Craig Forsyth, and it is now 50 complete working lap 51. And on lap 51, we would like to take the time to honor a fallen member of our community, Jim Brooks. Jim is one of the founding members of the Area 51 IndyCar Series. Jim, longtime supporter of IndyCars in the community. He is the only Kyle Clinworth sliding onto pit lane. He is one, and he has a black flag. Jim, one of the only men ever to complete the Around the World Challenge in Area 51. That start at every track in every series, and so we'd like to take a moment of silence to honor Jim Brooks on lap 51 here at Pocono. Indy Kirchenbauer has made his way down the pit lane. So too Luca Tedesco and Sam Cosner. That's going to hand the lead back to Matty Wagner. Those guys made it 34 laps, Ryan. They've got some fuel in the bank, and that's big.
Yeah, massive, because it could show what they could do in the upcoming stints.
Well, the longer you stretch these stints, the longer you stretch these runs, that means that you can turn it up sooner come the final, right? You're able to run full bore, flat out. If you can make it 32, 34 here, and everybody else makes it 32, that's 2 less laps that you need to make fuel at the end. And full scoot is 29 laps. So, if you make it 32 on the next one, brother, you're going to be in real good shape come that final run. Did have a question or a comment in the chat on this man, Craig Forsyth. He runs a modified team players livery from Forsyth Racing. Of course, it's got his sponsors on it, 40 Racewear, chief among them, also presenting sponsor for the series. You can check him out if you want to watch his POV. You can pull it up side by side. Woes 888. If you go to Forsyth Gaming on YouTube, you can see what Craig sees and listen to his commentary on the racing. We'll jump on board with Craig Forsyth as he runs along in the 5th spot. Red gloves and all, there he is. He's got Nate Fields and now the lapped car of Kyle Clinworth right in front of him. And Clindy, an unforced error right there, Ryan. He's a lap down. He's going to need to stay right where he is, run flat out, and hope for the yellow light.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only saving grace at this point. But you can't bank on a caution happening.
You can't, and here's the other part of that. Lith Fox, we were talking, and there's Lith. He's battling with Brandon Staten for the 12th spot. We talked about those point standings. Lith Fox, Kyle Clinworth, they're only separated by 3 markers here. Only 3 points separate those 2 drivers, Ryan. And so, my man, unforced errors, they can cost you. And Clinworth is going to need some help. And we got a car around and hard in the inside wall. There's his caution. Micah Mixer, hard into the inside wall off of turn number 1. And there's our caution. And let's see what has happened to Micah Mixer. But that bails out Clindy. Here he is. He's going through turn number 1. We're going to hop on the roll bar. He gets in the wake of Joseph Morales in front of him. There's the glance. And watch this. Bam! Hard in the inside wall. Thankfully, he does not get collected by any of the cars that are passing him. And it's a single car incident. But my goodness gracious, Micah Mixer, and that's all it takes, just a little brush, and it shot him at 220 miles an hour directly across the track. And that's a hard lick, Ryan. You hope he got his hands off the wheel for that one.
Yeah, and those are the kind of incidents you see on the extra one where you just misjudge the speed and you just push up and just glance the wall and it just throws you to the inside.
Yeah, it most certainly does. Do want to take a moment to thank the series sponsors, 40 Racewear, of course, gloves, shoes, hats, and even racing socks. I know that a lot of you have them, and I've got them myself. If you don't, go to 40racewear.com, and Jim Herrick will get you fixed up. Such a great guy and a supporter of a lot of things iRacing and a lot of things IndyCar and iRacing. That's 40racewear.com. You can also head over to taupessoaps.com and explore the benefits of Pato Award soap for your skin. Experience rejuvenation and freshness with our top quality soap products. Use promo code Horizon for buy one, get one free. That's taupessoaps.com. calm. Everybody is headed for the pit lane except Kyle Clinworth. There's Matty Wags. He'll slide to a stop. Nate Fields in front of him. We're going to watch the pit exit as they come out. Cars are already started. Out Wags gets beat out. Wags gets beat off the pit lane by Chris Albrecht. How about that? Andrew Surowiak nearly got there too. And Ryan, here's the thing. The mechanics are all the same in iRacing, right? There's no difference between Albrecht's pit crew and Wagner's pit crew. So tell me, how was Chris Albrecht in the stop for 8 seconds, Matt Wagner 8.2 seconds, and Andrew Surowiak 7.7 seconds? How does that happen?
Maybe just placement into the box. A lot of things can come into play.
You're absolutely right. So you can't see it in the broadcast, but the drivers can. The mechanics are lined out for them in the pit lane, and if you miss your marks on pit road, it takes the mechanics just that extra tenth or two to pull the tires to where the car is, move the fuel hose to where it needs to go, and that's why you see different pit stop times. Even though the drivers should have all been similar on fuel and they all changed 4 tires, that's the reason that you see those differences. You also may have a little bit more fuel going in some cars than others, right? Joseph Morales is scored as your leader, by the way. There's Joseph, and he will make the turn down pit lane. Here he comes. He'll be followed by the cars 1 lap down. Clindy has got his lap back, as has Brian Greenlee and Matthew Carroll. They'll take the wave around here. So too Jeff Heisong. So everybody that's on the track, other than Mason Mitchum, is going to be on the lead lap, as you see Joseph Morales make his pit stop, and he'll come out and go to the back of the line. Interesting race thus far, Ryan. Interesting race indeed.
Yeah, and we're still in a position where it could be anyone's win today.
Yeah, most certainly so. You've got Albrecht and Wagner. I think you're going to want to be in that top 2 when it comes time to talk turkey. I don't think that unless the tires are brand new, that somebody from 3rd on back is going to be able to get around them. So this restart is extremely important for Andrew Surowiak, Nate Fields, and Craig Forsyth. The other thing this does is it scrambled the fuel strategy right on up, didn't it, Ryan?
Yeah.
So now you got to make 57 laps. It's 1 more stop to get home from here, and it's more or less flat out. I don't believe that we're going to see any sort of fuel saving shenanigans here. You might have to save a lap, but that's pretty easy to do if you're in the draft. And so I got to think that you're going to see everybody go flat out more or less from here. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. You're listening to Ryan Eric King and Mark Murphy and the P1 Broadcasting team here at the Pocono Raceway for the Horizon IndyCar Series on P1. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get on all the iRacing action. Barney has got the green flag in the air. It's waving. Ryan, and back to green flag action we go. Everybody more or less safely through turns 1 and 2. The front 4 have broken away just a little bit from Craig Forsyth. He and Indy Kirchenbauer now have formed back up on the rear of that lead train, and they've got some distance back to Gary Lovern in 7th. Lovern now, Ryan, 0.5 of a second, half a second off this leader group, but now he's rejoined. Wayne Campbell, 0.6 of a second back in 8th. So the front 7 cars are all right in a line, Ryan. And away we go. Wags and Albrecht trading the lead up front.
Now let's see if anyone could pull away off the front.
Well, as we've seen, it takes about 10 laps to get the tires hot. Once they get hot, you're going to see drivers start to lose grip. And when they lose grip, they'll start to spread out just a little bit. Right now, though, Andrew Surwack and Nate Fields, they're doing a pretty decent job of hanging right on the back of Albrecht and Wagner. And Ryan, that tells me that these guys are learning, right? They've learned from those first couple of runs. Maybe they know a little bit more about what they want to do with the in-car tools. It's a fixed setup, but you can still adjust the anti-roll bars front and rear. You've got the weight jacker to help you out. They're going to have a little bit more experience with the hybrid, where it regens, how to deploy it. And so I would expect that the field's going to remain a little tighter, a little longer here.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that point. It's
Surwack now has reformed on Albrecht and Wagner. Indy Kirchenbauer is a little bit further behind with Nate Fields and Craig Forsyth, Gary Lovern in tow. You've got to go a little bit further back. There's Wayne Campbell, and Alex Miller has made a nice recovery, Ryan. He's back in the top 10 in 9th. Primetime John Stellard is in 10th, and Clindy, he's made his way back up to 12th after that mistake. Got himself back on the lead lap via the lucky dog. He's not out of this either, Ryan. See Clindy working on Eric Peterson. Let's jump on board with Kyle Clinworth, and we'll kind of see what he sees. He's shading Peterson high there. That's so that he can get a run off. And Clinworth tags the wall a little bit. Ryan Eric King coming off of turn number 3.
Yeah, definitely a hold your breath moment there.
You know, that's likely not going to cause any, quote, damage to the car for Kyle Clinworth. But I'll tell you what it will do. You can bend something, and it can give you hidden damage. It's not something the crew can fix, but what iRacing does for those at home is it adds drag. And when it adds drag, the car slows down in a straight line. It becomes especially acute outside the draft. It can affect the handling of the car. So you really do want to avoid tagging the wall if at all possible. Clindy seems to have gotten away with it, though. Clinworth runs along in the 12th spot right behind Eric Peterson. Peterson is in 11th. We're going to have some battling happening here for the 5th spot. That's Craig Forsyth. He's dropped under Nate Fields. Now, it is important for Forsyth here, and he does so to make the move in trouble. Nate Fields, big trouble. Nate Fields and Gary Lovern, they get away with it. Fields is going to hit the pit lane. Lovern, save that car.
Oh, man.
Watch this, Ryan. Watch this. Nate Fields, the meatball. He's already down pit lane. Watch this. There's Lovern. He's going to go into turn 3. He's going to come down at the same time Fields comes up. They touch, and Gary Lovern drifts an IndyCar through turn 3 at Pocono and comes out on the other side of it.
Yeah, usually when someone goes sideways like that, someone else plows into them. Luckily enough, the other competitors were aware enough to realize what was happening right in front of them.
Gary Lovern did the right thing, though. Did you see what he did with the wheel, Ryan? He kept the wheel open, and he didn't overcorrect. He let the car correct itself, which it will do. Now, he's made the tires mad, right? Clinworth has gotten past Peterson and now Lovern. So move Clindy up to 9th, and there he is. there he is. We do have a report that Nate Fields tagged the wall the lap before that, and so that's the report, and that could have been why his car was ill handling. But look, I mean, that's an amazing job of driving from Gary Lovren right there, for sure. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. You're watching the Horizon IndyCar Series with Mark Murphy and Ryan Eric King. That's Indy Kirchenbauer. He is dropping below Andrew Surwack, and Indy's going to make the pass for third. He clears him, moves the Prodigy into the third spot. Meanwhile, the leaders have caught Nate Fields. He did stay on the lead lap with that move, but he's now under direct contact but from Matt Wagner and Chris Albrecht. Now, Ryan, what does that do for Wags and Albrecht to have a fast car in front of them at this stage of the race? What does that help them? Does it hurt them? What are your thoughts on that?
I think there are pros and cons. Obviously, it compromises their line through some of the corners, but it gives them a toe down the straight. And while they might not be trying to pass the lap car, it could be useful to save fuel and stretch out a stint.
Yeah, I mean it cuts both ways. I mean, you know, Wags and Albrecht, you know, they can use this as the opportunity to save fuel. Obviously, Fields is going to be running it flat out. He can't make it to the end.
All right, man.
And we've got a caution. Sam Cosner. There's Cosner, and that is going to be a big impact, and I think it's going to be the same thing that we saw happen to Micah Mixer. Here's Sam Cosner. He'd been running in the 20th spot, so Cosner was toward the back of this field. And I bet you shiny new dime, Ryan. There it is. Tag the outside into the inside. That's almost a replica of what happened to his teammate Micah Mixer. He hit in almost the exact same spot, too. Look at how much wheel he has in that car. Just not handling to his liking. Got in the power a little bit too early. You do lift a little bit here on old tires in turns 1 and 2, and Cosner just hard into the wall. So that is going to bring out the caution. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can listen to more of Ryan Eric King and I talk about Indy cars on Wednesday nights here in the Horizon IndyCar Series. Do want to thank the series sponsors, 4D Racewear, for precision sim racing gloves to durable shoes and teamwear. 4D Racewear crafts gaming apparel that supports speed, control, and comfort. 40racewear.com. We'd also like to thank Taupes Soaps. Explore the benefits of a Pato Award soap for your skin, Ryan. Experience rejuvenation and freshness with our top quality soap products. Use code HORIZON for a buy one get one free voucher. That's taupessoaps.com, promo code HORIZON. And Ryan, I gotta ask, you know, when my wife goes to the bathroom, she loves having Pato Award's face in the soap dish. I can guarantee you that.
Don't let Pato know.
That's right. Well, I just won't take her to a race and have her around Pato. That way she'll never get to meet her soap hero, right? Everybody is streaming down the pit lane, by the way, with one exception. Alex Miller did not pit. So we'll have to see what this does with Alex Miller, because Miller's been out 16 laps. He's going to have some others that stay out with him. Luca Tedesco is out. Joseph Morales stayed out. Nate Fields obviously stayed out. Now, he was just in 7 laps ago. You cannot make it home from here. It's 41 laps. And so this might not be a bad move, especially for Nate Fields, because he just stopped, and he was in clean air the whole time, Ryan.
Yeah, they're banking on track position. They know that everyone will have to come in one more time. So they hope that in the long run, they net gain on positions by the time we have the next round to stop.
Yeah, it's what you're hoping for if you're Miller and Tedesco is that you can start the slingshot that Wagner and Albrecht have been using to great effect throughout this race. You're hoping that you can start to slingshot and kind of get away. If you're Nate Fields, you're hoping you can get through Morales, through Tedesco, and gang up with Alex Miller, and you two can start that conveyor belt forward. You're hoping that you can do that until such a time as we get to that 10-lap point in the run where the other cars start to experience tire degradation and they slow down. Then you're gonna hit pit road on lap 86, because from there you can make it all the way home. And if you can, that's going to be exactly 10 laps after we go back to green. You got plenty of fuel to make it. And then, Ryan, if you do that, you're banking on clean air, you're banking on having a friend, you're banking on slingshotting with each other, and the other cars are going to have to stop at least for a splash, and you're hoping that you're going to be fast enough over your good on the tires to make up enough time to go by them when they stop. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, that it has to be the plan, but it's going to be difficult to ride out this early section here when all the pitters are on fresh tires.
The saving grace, though, is that the saving grace for Miller and Tedesco is that they've got Morales and Fields out there with them. It's not like Chris Albrecht, who is 5th in the first car on tires. It's not like those cars. Are going to be on top of them immediately. It's going to take them a couple of laps, and in those couple of laps, Miller and Tedesco really need to focus on establishing that slingshot so that they can get far enough out ahead and really make Albrecht and Kirchenbauer and company work to get to him. Barney is going to have the green flag in the air, Ryan. It's getting close. We're going to have 41 laps to go when they cross the line. The green flag is going to, or 40 laps to go when they cross the line. The green flag is out. Everybody has one more pit stop. There are differing tire strategies in this race. Just got pretty interesting. Green flag back in the air. You could not, Ryan, have ordered a better restart for the leaders. They got some distance. They've still got Fields and Morales between them and the tires. You could not have asked for a better situation as Alex Miller streaks away. Now, Tedesco is not close enough to do the slingshot, is he, Ryan?
Albrecht is swinging around the outside for 4th.
Yeah, he's got the move done. That's job done for Chris Albrecht. He'll set his sights ahead on Nate Fields. And Fields is reeling in Luca Tedesco lap by lap. The question is going to be, can Albrecht get there before the good is gone off those Firestones?
I thought he was going to make a lunge into the tunnel turn, but no.
No, he didn't. He stayed back. Albrecht knows he's got the advantage here. He knows that he's going to be able. He's going to get past Nate Fields eventually. There's no use in forcing it. Looking off the back of Fields. Albrecht's going to go high. He's going to try to make the run. He's going to try to make the run here. Down to the inside goes Chris Albrecht, and that is going to be, well, I was going to say it was job done, Ryan. There he goes. He's got him clear. So Chris Albrecht is now clear of Nate Fields, and Albrecht is going to move toward Luca Tedesco now in that second spot.
Yeah, he's still a long way back, but this gap is going to shrink quickly.
It is indeed. We're on the Bobby Rahal nose cam. If you watched Indy cars in the early 90s, you're familiar with this. It looked like somebody stuck a tube of lipstick on Rahal's car when you looked at it from the outside, but it gave us these amazing shots. And this is what you would see if you were the antenna, the radio antenna on the front of Chris Albrecht's machine as he hunts Luca Tedesco now. Watch the trap speed now for Chris Albrecht. He got a great run high. He's going to touch 230 miles an hour down the front here. He's going to lift going into turn one just a bit to set the nose off the power, playing with the throttle. And he's going to try, I think, to swing underneath Tedesco here shortly. He backed out of that move, though, Ryan.
Yeah, he backed out. He wants to make sure if he goes for a pass, he's going to make it.
He does indeed. Just to kind of keep an update on our championship battle, with 36 laps to go, Lith Fox is a lap down in 21st. Kyle Clinworth has climbed his way up to the 10th spot. So Clindy has a good result for the championship in hand at the moment. 35 laps to go, although he is 10th. We're watching the lead because it's old tires against new ones. Alex Miller and Luca Tedesco, thus far, 7 laps in, have managed to hold off the charge from Chris Albrecht, and we're getting close to the point where tires begin to matter, Ryan.
Yeah, and let's see if they can hold off Albrecht.
To the bottom he goes on Tedesco. Now he's going to run into a face full of dirty air. If Alex Miller was smart, and Miller does it, he's going to move to the bottom to cut off Albrecht's air and give Tedesco the tow down the Long Pond straightaway, and that's exactly what Alex Miller did. That was a very smart move from Alex Miller right there, Ryan.
Yep, smart move. Use the second guy as a rear gunner. Just try to solidify your position.
Right, the longer he can keep Chris Albrecht back there, Indy Kirchenbauer, Matt Wagner, those cars on fresh tires, the better off it's going to be for Alex Miller. The bad news for Miller is he's probably 5 laps away from having to make his final stop. And I think, Ryan, we're at that crossover point in the tires where they're hot on Albrecht's car, and it's not going to matter as much now. Jump on board his roll hoop.
Yeah, now he has to deal with a threat from behind.
Yeah, he does. He's got Indy Kirchenbauer back there. Indy's closer to Albrecht than Albrecht is to Tedesco for sure. Well, now he gets by Luca, so he dove to the bottom that time. And now Luca Tedesco is going to go right back around him. He's going to cross him over. And you see Miller move down to shade and help out Luca Tedesco.
It's not enough help this time.
It is not. And look, it was a good idea, right? He did it for as long as he could. Now Indy Kirchenbauer goes past Luca Tedesco. So now the tires have arrived at Alex Miller's rear wing. Is he going to be able to hold them off, or is he going to be able to maintain his position? The answer is no. Chris Albrecht dives to the bottom immediately and gets past Alex Miller. And now Miller just needs to stay as close as he can to the front. He's going to try to slingshot back by.
That's the thing. He doesn't need the lead. He just needs to hang on close, stay as close as he can until the next pit cycle.
He does, and the other thing he wants to do is he wants to stay amongst the leaders, but he also wants to fall no further than second because he wants to be able to slingshot with whoever is second so that they can get that conveyor belt started and move away from everybody else. The handling just isn't there for Miller, though. He can't cut the car through turn number 1. Through goes Indy Kirchenbauer, and Kirchenbauer immediately goes for the lead on Chris Albrecht, and Miller's going to try to follow him through on the old tires, Ryan.
Ooh. Let's see. He's trying to keep his momentum up for the front straight.
Not able to do it, and now with 29 to go, we've entered the window for Alex Miller. Woes 888 wants to know, it says it would be cool if there were teams in this like real IndyCar. Well, the answer is, Ryan, there are teams in this like real IndyCar. Indy Kirchenbauer, part of the Votive Racing League squad. He's got several teammates in this race. Alex Miller, formerly of Taylor Mills Racing, he's working with Lith Fox and those guys over at Team Mirai. You've got Craig Forsyth. He's a part of the Powerful 40 Racewear team. We've mentioned Brandon Staten and Matt Wagner. As you see cars now coming to pit lane, we've got a car around at the entrance to pit road. That's going to be Andrew Surowac, has spun it coming into pit lane. And Ryan, this is lock the rear brakes and around she goes. He doesn't hit anything, but Surowac definitely takes a spin. More broadly, Matt Wagner and Eric Peterson both have black flags, too fast entering for their final stops. So Wags and Peterson, they're going to go a lap down here. More broadly in the community, you have some teams that have been around for a really long time. Team Power Slide, Team Hype, private label Team Hype, working together, right, as they have for a long time. Community luminaries, pros on that team: Jacob Oster, Adam Blocker, Alex Van de Zandt, our friend Andrew Wood, who joins us in the commentary booth as a member of that squad. You've got Team I5G, which there are no representatives either of these teams in this race, but they're led by Brandon Trano, Brendan Lichtenberg, the Hyperstar, popular YouTube channel, very awesome in Indianapolis. They've reloaded with Matt Taylor, Caleb Brashear, Logan Edwards of recent. Andrew Marquez has gone to that squad, and you've got the Alliance, which includes my team, Indy Alliance Racing, Rogue Racing, which is Kyle Clinworth's team. You've got Satellite Racing, Matt Hollybaugh. In that, we talk a lot more about teams in the official broadcasts on Monday night, Tuesday night, where they're a lot more prevalent. But there are teams, and they are very, very, very powerful within the community in terms of speed, Ryan.
And as you say, that Alex Miller's come in and he's rejoined the race.
He has. There he is. 9 seconds for Alex Miller. He rejoins, but critically, he's not really around anyone. He's going to have Wagner there behind him. Wagner is a lap down. Alex Miller, again, formerly of the Taylor Mills Racing team. He is an independent now. Wagner, part of Team Rocket. So Wagner does have a team affiliation. Daniel Durazo, Tristan Fortson, members of that squad. But there's a lot of guys that have teams now. We want to keep an eye on Alex Miller because we need to see what he's running in reference to Chris Albrecht. Albrecht has dropped Nate Fields. Fields is 2.7 seconds back, but critically for Albrecht, he's got some help. There are lap cars ahead of him, and they are within the draft window. Last time through for Chris Albrecht, 41.062, and he is catching the cars in front of them, although he's coming to pit lane. Clean entry for Albrecht, and that is going to turn the lead over to Nate Fields, and they've got Craig Forsyth and Kyle Clinworth, and these cars are immediately in touch with one another. Clinworth is doing battle with Forsyth for what is now second spot, Ryan.
Yeah, and it's going to be it's going to start getting heated out there, considering we're in the last stint of the race.
It is indeed. Forsyth is going to drop off in the 9940 Racewear machine. He's going to come to pit lane. That's going to turn the lead over to Nate Fields, who's being chased by Kyle Clinworth and Wayne Campbell. Primetime John Stellard is fourth. There's John. He's a part of this group. And Brandon Staten is fifth. Now, Andrew Surwack is going to give you a great illustration of what new tires do, because Staten is now on those new tires. He's out, or Surwack now, on new tires, and he is pulled up on the back of Primetime John Stellard. Nate Fields right now lapping at 41.382. Alex Miller 41 flat. So there's Alex Miller, and he has already pulled around Craig Forsyth, if that gives you any indication of track position. He is behind Indy Kirchenbauer, though. Kirchenbauer stayed out another 2 laps. But that worked for Alex Miller. He made it from 9th to what is effectively 3rd in the running order once everybody pits. Next on to the pit lane is going to be Nate Fields, and he's going to have to make that stop shortly, Ryan. He's been out 28 laps. We're going to get he's going to go for another. We will get the stint time up for the fans at home so you can see who's pitted, who's not, who's due, and when. Remember, full run, full rich, full gas, you get 29 laps. There's 4 caution laps in there for Fields, so he's probably got another lap or 2, wouldn't you think, Ryan?
It seems like it.
He should have indeed, so we'll watch Nate Fields. Brandon Staten has moved into second. He's about 3 seconds behind Nate Fields. There's Staten. He's got Primetime John Stellard, and Jeff Hysong in the black car is immediately behind him. And Nate Fields is going for another. We'll have 19 laps to go this time, and it's really just down to Fields where he blends in, but he's losing time. Alex Miller, the last time through, 40.937 seconds. He is catching these leaders at something like a half a second a lap.
Oh.
Now, the advantage for Fields is going to be, he's going to have, as you can see on there, anywhere between 5 to 8 lap fresher tires than everybody else. He's going to duck into pit lane, and that is going to leave Primetime John Stellard as your leader. Now, Stellard, Staten, Hysong, and Matt Carroll are out, and they last stopped under that last caution. So they've got 4 more laps that they can go, and they are right there, and they're on the tail of Andrew Surwack. Surwack runs along in the 18th spot. He is the last car on the lead lap, and this is good news for Stellard and these guys because they've got fast cars to pull them along, Ryan.
Yeah, it really bolsters their advantage.
It most certainly does. Surwack will stay high. Primetime John Stellard heads for the bottom. 17 laps to go, and these cars, they can go another 4 laps or so. I would expect them anywhere around anywhere around lap 101 to 102. So call it 12 to 13 laps to go. What they're trying to get to, Ryan, is the minimum amount of fuel to take tires, right? So they have a minimum pit stop.
Pretty much just outside of splash and dash territory.
Right. They're looking at it going, okay, the tires take 6 seconds. How much fuel can I get in 6 seconds? And that's when I need to stop, right? I don't need any more than 6 seconds of fuel. A full tank, by the way, for those of you wondering at home, is about 9 seconds, right? That's what it took for Alex Miller. He got a full tank. So that's what Stellard and this crew are trying to do. They're trying to say, okay, I want to get me new tires, but I don't want another drop of fuel past the new tires. Moving past Brian Greenlee, and that will put Greenlee a lap down. Surowac picks up the spot. Stellard has now been more or less caught by Brandon Staton. Staton had dropped a full second behind. He's now within half a second. Stellard going to go for another, so to Staton. In comes, I believe, Lith Fox in the background. That's going to be a pit from 19th spot. As you see Stellard move past Surowac now and into the lead, or into the put him one lap down. Ryan, you think these guys want a caution or no?
No. Just no.
You know, I actually think a caution might benefit these guys. I think with 8 laps now for Albrecht, 9 for Kirchenbauer, 11 for Miller, those cars are right together. I think that everybody would come in and get tires if a yellow light were to come out, right? If the yellow light were to turn on right now. Knock on wood, we don't want to see that. This is an interesting strategic thing playing out here. As Stellard is trying, I think, to swap with Surowac. But I think everybody would pit here.
But that's the thing. For it to be a wash, you need everyone to pit. If 3 or more guys elect to just stay out, it becomes much harder to try to race for the win.
It does indeed. You're watching John Stellard. He is swap drafting with Andrew Surowac as we get down 13 to go. And we are now at the point where we're going to see primetime John Stellard, Brandon Staton, Jeff Heisong, and Matt Carroll make the dive for the pit lane pretty much any time. The front 3 are together. Matt Carroll is the peach and white car in the background. So the front 4 more or less within a couple of seconds of one another. And it's just a matter of time before they all hit pit road. And it's what are they going to do when they get to pit road, Ryan? Gas only? They're going to take tires? Are they going to take tires and short fuel? What are they going to do here? You also got to make sure that you've got your ducks in a row. You don't need a full tank. So you want to make sure, 12 laps to go. Let's see if we can figure it out. Full burns 29 laps. You got 18.5 gallons.
It's coming in.
He's coming in. He needs roughly 7 gallons of gas, but they're all coming. So they need 7 gallons, which would take roughly 5 seconds. So tires, 7 gallons, get yourself back out. Here they are, all on pit lane, and we will see exactly where they come out with relationship to this man. They're not going to be able to keep the lead, I don't think, because Chris Albrecht is already through turn 3 and on the front straight, and those cars are just now in their pit boxes. This did not work out for primetime John Stellard and friends. 5.5 seconds in the box, but they're going to come out 10 or 15 seconds behind Albrecht and company. So there's John Stellard. He's back up to speed, and he has come out just ahead of Gary Lovern. Now, those cars are going to be the fastest cars on the track by far. Are they going to be 18 seconds faster over the next 10 laps? Ryan, I don't know about that, right?
Yeah, I think it's just a bit too far away. I think at this point, a caution would benefit them just to close the gap.
Yeah, well, it would benefit them too because they would essentially be on sticker tires. Everybody else would be in trouble. Alex Miller wiggles coming off of turn 1 as Kyle Clinworth has snuck past into the 4th spot. Clindy is now going to set his sights on Craig Forsyth. Closers be closing, Ryan. Clinworth is coming to the front.
Yeah, your ABCs always be closing, and that's what Clinworth is doing today.
You know, it's funny. Things happen throughout the race. Different circumstances. Penalties occur. For Clindy, it was a speeding ticket. But isn't it interesting how the same guys always seem to show up when it's time to open the pay window, Ryan?
An F1 team boss who I won't name once told me, when you're good, you're just good. And Kyle definitely falls in that category.
That's true, and the same is true for Chris Albrecht. That's a guy that's won in. That's a guy racing for the lead right now. He's won in the Elite Racing League, which is produced by P1. You can catch them on Thursday nights over on the Elite Racing Network. But that's a clearinghouse series, kind of like Votive is, where the best of the best go. And Chris Albrecht has won races over there. He sat on the pole for their Indianapolis 500. That's a really stout driver. Leading this thing. You've got Indy Kirchenbauer, who has shown blazing speed across officials, most leagues. He's a guy who races karts in real life. He's a guy that is devastatingly fast. He's upped his racecraft. He started to run toward the front. Craig Forsyth, tens of hundreds, thousands of starts in this car, in this service. Right, Craig Forsyth has been around since the beginning of time, it seems, in iRacing with Indy cars. That's a guy that's won almost everything there is to win, and he currently sits third. The guy behind him, he's won almost everything that there is to win. Kyle Clinworth, he's got an Indy 500 open yet to add to the mantle. He has not won this series. He's chasing Area 51. But Kyle Clinworth is a guy that's won just about everything available too. He's currently running 4th. And then you've got Nate Fields. Nate Fields, a veteran of this series, he's 5th. Alex Miller, the defending champion of the series, is in 6th. The battle, I think, that's going to be worth watching right now, it's Clindy going past Forsyth through turn number 1. And can Craig respond here? Clinworth 1 lap fresher tires than Forsyth, and I know that doesn't seem like a lot, Ryan, but it can be, depending on how you came out in traffic. Forsyth now dropping back from Clinworth, and can Clindy close the 1.3 second bridge to Chris Albrecht and Indy Kirchenbauer, who in some ways, Indy is a protege of Clindy's within iRacing. It's different teams. But Kirchenbauer has studied under Clinworth a lot. Kirchenbauer trades the lead with Albrecht one more time. But what are we going to see when the student gets to, or when the master gets to the student here, Ryan? We've got 5 laps to figure it out, and Clinworth is coming. Two-tenths of a second quicker the last time through for Kyle Clinworth. This time, just about a tenth of a second. So he's closing the gap. It started at 1.5 seconds, but Clindy's got problems because Craig Forsyth just went underneath him. Craig says, look, I'm not done. I want to have that second spot or that third spot.
Yeah, they're battling. They're going to battle hard over these last couple laps for that last spot on the podium.
They are, but do you think there's any co-opetition going on there? You help me get to the front, I help you, and then when we get there, we can we can slice it up with these guys, or is that just straight battling for position, you think?
I think it's straight battling for position. The top two, I think they're just out of reach to really catch them by the end.
They could be. We've got about 7.5 miles to find that out. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you too can get in on all of the iRacing fun. It's week 13, and so an abbreviated schedule this week. Horizon tonight. We're going to see the iRacing IndyCar Series on Saturday. We'll have the we'll have the Grand National cars as the Snake begins tomorrow night, and then the Dark Horse Series as well as Classic Indy cars on Sunday. The regularly scheduled programming kicks off at 8:00 Monday night with the iRacing Indy Open Series from St. Petersburg, and here we go, Ryan. Again, we're snaking.
It is that time of the race.
It is that time of the race. If we were playing nice before this, we're not playing nice anymore. Kirchenbauer has the lead, and he's decided that we're not going to swap anymore. Clinworth has established position over Forsyth. The battle for the lead is where it's at. We're on board Chris Albrecht as Indy Kirchenbauer weaves and bobs and weaves some more down the front stretch, but that can hurt you just as much as it can help you, Ryan. One, it heats the tires up, but also you're scrubbing speed, and Albrecht has been able to close the gap back to Indy. He doesn't respond to the weave going down the Long Pond Straight. Albrecht's setting him up for turn 3, I think.
Yeah, through the short chute to the turn 3.
Albrecht climbs to the high side. He's going to try to make the move, but it's not going to be enough. Indy Kirchenbauer comes across the line. He will claim the the Horizon IndyCar Series race from Pocono. Chris Albrecht second, Kyle Clinworth third, Forsyth and Nate Fields round out your top 5 as the rest of the field streams across the line. And Rec, that was fun. I like the additional horsepower.
Yeah, it definitely made runs a bit louder in a way. It didn't string out entirely into our traditional Pocono procession. You could still fight down the straights and catch people.
Yeah, you most certainly could. Indy Kirchenbauer is your winner. Chris Albrecht will come home second. Kyle Clinworth is going to finish off your podium. Craig Forsyth, Nate Fields, Wayne Campbell, 4, 5, and 6. Luca Tedesco, Alex Miller, Gary Lovren, and Joseph Morales are going to round out your top 10 as Kirchenbauer gives it the old spinaroo down the front stretch. And he is going to just do some donuts. In 11th, Jeff Heisong. Primetime John Stellar brings it home 12th. William Holman, Brandon Staten, and Brandon Domingue, pair of Brandons, 14th and 15th. Matt Carroll, Andrew Surwack, and Brian Greenlee round out your lead lap. Matt Lithfox, Matt Wagner, 19th and 20th. '21st, Mason Mitchum, Eric Peterson, 22nd. Sam Cosner, Micah Mixer out of the race, 23rd and 24th. Well, Ryan, this will be an interesting replay room. My goodness gracious. Let's see who we've got. We'll go ahead and bring him in. The man that stormed from 21st to 3rd, Kyle Clinworth. You've got Mark Murphy and Ryan King in the Horizon P1 broadcasting booth. Got to ask, what was the racing like in the midfield there at the beginning? That looked like you had a couple of close calls.
Fun, man. I definitely drove my guts out and got a little too familiar with the outside wall, but everybody out there kind of knew the assignment, and we did as good as we could to take care of each other, and it was a pretty good time, I feel like.
It did. So tell me about the end. Were you out of tires, out of space, out of time? Um, kind of what kept you from making up that last? Oh, we're gonna call it 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, Indy and Chris just started working together just enough to make both the good lanes bad in the corners, and I just could not put my car where I needed to make up time on them, or enough time to get within 1 second, right, to really pull down the big long straightaways to put myself in position to capitalize.
Indeed, indeed. Ryan Eric King, do you have anything for Mr. Clinworth this evening?
Well, Clendy, how was it having to pretty much double dip through the field after getting that speeding ticket?
I'm really upset with myself for getting that speeding ticket. I made a race strategy error where I figured I needed to attach myself to Craig's coattails and pit with him, or like get up to him before I pit, and I burned just enough fuel to make it so I lost a lap of economy when I probably didn't need to or probably shouldn't have. And from that point on, I I was on the 8 ball when he said he needed to pit, and then I'm like, shoot, I have to pit too. I'm not going to make it around. Like, I probably would have run out in turn three, which would have been okay, but I would have lost a ton of time getting to my pit box. So I'm on a new rig, and my button mappings are all changed, and I tried to do my calling out to pit, and I missed it, and I pressed the button I had mapped in practice for pits or for voice comms. I just messed everything up, and then I got in like 10 mile an hour too hot because I'm still getting used to the brake pedal. But I need to be better than that, and I need to put myself in a better position on my fuel. Right? I just need to be smarter and know my equipment better. And I'm fortunate that this league has Lucky Dog, and I was not too poorly negatively impacted by my own mistakes.
Well, it was fun watching you drive through the field there. Not only once, but then the second time. You made the broadcast a little bit more exciting for sure. Want to thank you as always for stopping by, Clindy. You know the drill. You've been up here enough. Friends, family, sponsor, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, of course. First off, thanks to all my team and alliance mates. You guys help make me get better every single week. Thanks to all my sponsors, starting with the channel P1, you, Murph, Ryan, Gary. Everybody does a great job, and you bring us all the racing content that we could ever desire. And as I have this new PC, hopefully I can start streaming and adding even more to the plate for all you viewers at home. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, send a chat, do all that stuff that helps us with the algorithm. And then, of course, thanks to Shane Coker, who runs the Votive Racing League. He is my primary sponsor, and we will be returning to action in a few weeks' time at Chicagoland. And then we'll have big things coming up for Votive Season 5 in the future. On top of that, if you go to advanced.gg, you can check out with my promo code CLENDYSENDY with a capital K and a capital S and get 10% off your order. And a little bit of that comes back to me.
There you go, Clindy. Thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thanks, Murph.
Absolutely. That is Kyle Clinworth. He runs in the third spot today. For second, we bring in Chris Albrecht. Chris, you've got Murph. You've got the beautiful wreck, Ryan Eric King, in the booth with me. You you dominated the mid to late stages of this race. Um, Indy got by you. It appeared in the swap situation, and then he decided to not play nice first. Is that kind of how it went?
Yeah, I think we both had the same idea in mind. First of all, it was great to be up front and be in the situation where it was going to come down to the two of us. I was hoping I could hold that lead by myself, but I needed somebody to swap with to stay up there, and so Indy caught up. And then I think as we were swapping, I had a bad corner with about 3 laps to go, and that created enough of a gap to where when we hit 2 to go and he started the weave, I just needed another lap to really have a chance to pass him. So he timed it perfect. That one corner with on the third to last lap was everything he needed to then hold me off for the rest of the race.
Ryan, what do you have for Mr. Albrecht this evening?
Now, Uh, well, what was it like driving through the field, especially with this new car with added power? Usually Pocono's fairly processional, but you made it seem not easy, but possible to get that far up the field.
Yeah, it was nice. I think strategy played into that a little bit. At the start, I just wanted to go to the front. So I was able to get into the top three and hold there until first round of pit stops. And then middle to late, there was a yellow that jumbled everything else. So I was the first of those that stopped, and I think I came out fifth. I think fresh tires really helped me get by, and those guys up front were also leaving the top lane open, so I was able to carry momentum around there, and then eventually just wait for a good opportunity and then get by them. And then Indy caught up. I helped him get by, and then the two of us were able to stay out front from there.
Stay out front, you did. It was a fine battle to the end. Ultimately, you come out in the middle of the podium, and with that come the spoils. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. Chris, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, shout out to Wags for putting on the league and for Track Rocket team. The three of us ran well together for a lot of that race, Wags and Andrew. That was a lot of fun. And then shout out to our sponsor, Taupe Soaps, and then the organization I'm a part of, F5 Challenge. Just it's great to have all those teammates and organizations that we're a part of.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the second place, Chris. Thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy, and we will see you at the next one.
Thanks so much. Good job, guys.
Absolutely. That is Chris Albrecht. He runs second, and the man of the hour is Indy Kirchenbauer. Indy, you've got Murph, you've got Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. Talk to us about the battle with Albrecht. You ran him down, you passed him. You got by, and as I said to Albrecht, you decided to you were the one that initiated the no more Mr. Nice Guy routine. Tell us about what goes into that calculation. Do you start it with 2 to go, 3 to go, 4 to go? How do you know when to say, okay, I've got the lead and I'm gonna keep it now?
Yeah, it was about like coming to that 3 and 4 right before 2 to go. I saw he didn't get a great tunnel turn, and then I had taken a low arc every time in turn 3 when we were swapping to give him clean air, and then then I knew that uh I be I knew that if I moved up and took a high arc, he wouldn't expect it, and then he'd get a bad run. So I just moved up that time on entry, and it screwed his entry, and then I was able to snake, and I knew based on how far he was back, he was not going to catch me if I snaked.
Gotcha. Ryan Eric King, what do you have for Indy this evening after the big win?
Man, I mean, you talked us how you got, to the victory. What was it like early on? Because I think we had a caution just before the first pit window. We had some takers go down pit road. What were the conditions like, and how did that inform your strategy?
Yeah, it was I, that first one I wanted that to go green because I was saving a lot of gas, and I was gonna make it 33 laps when a lot of people can only make it 29. And I did end up doing that, but yeah, I would have been in a really good spot if that would have gone green as well. But then I got the yellow and worked through the pack, was able to catch up to Chris on that last restart.
Well, there you go. You caught him, you passed him, you made it home to the checkered flag first, and with the win come the spoils. You get the mic, friends, family, sponsor. Shout them out, Indy. You've most definitely earned it.
Yeah. Uh, my go-kart sponsors are BG Emery and Associates. Bayside Heating and Cooling, make something on YouTube. and then I'll shout out Votive Racing, and thank you to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and yeah, definitely happy with this one. It moves me up to P9 in the points, so yeah, I'm happy with that.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for stopping in, Indy. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one. You hear?
Yep, I probably will be. I don't know yet though.
We'll see you at the next one you're in, I'm sure. Have a good one. Have a good night, Indy. Get some sleep.
All right, goodbye.
That is Indy Kirchenbauer. He is your winner this evening here in the Horizon IndyCar Series. And Rec, my voice is a little bit worse for the wear, but that only means that we had a pretty good show, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely more exciting than our typical Pocono race, and I'm glad to see where iRacing is taking the IndyCar.
Yeah, so that was going to be my my conclusion from this. This was a lot more like a race that you would see. This is a lot more like a race that you would see in real life, where cars could get away from one another. The draft was powerful, but it wasn't. It wasn't omnipresent, right? Cars could get away from each other. The tires wore out. They mattered. You could do a lot of really good things with the car. You really had to drive it. And it's going to be too early to call as to whether or not this holds throughout the fixed season, or the Indy fixed schedule. What it means for the open setup races. Whether it was just a one-time thing with a setup that the administration here in the Horizon Race IndyCar Series came up with. But early returns look pretty good. Speaking of returns, it is week 13. It is an abbreviated schedule here on P1. We do have the AMA Archway Industrial, or not AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. My goodness. We have the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. They're going to be live tomorrow, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Myself and Caleb Brashear on the call for that one. There is no race Friday or Saturday. There's no race Friday or Saturday. Sunday, we've got a doubleheader. In the afternoon, it'll be the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series. That's the IR05. They will be at Portland at 3 o'clock. Gary Godso and Andrew Wood will have that one. And then Gary's going to come back with LGN for the nightcap. It's the Dark Horse DW12 Series presented by 4D Racewear at 8. The regular schedule begins next Monday with the IndyCar Series Monday Night Open Top Split from St. Petersburg at 8. And it'll be a doubleheader. They'll be followed by the Indy Next Road Series at 8. Tuesday, the IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday Night Top Split at 8:15. That'll be from Homestead, Miami. The Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday Night Top Split goes from Twin Ring Motegi at 9:30. The Horizon IndyCar Series is off next week, so the Formula Super Series at 8:20 will be the only race Wednesday. The Outland Custom Arms Industrial Truck Series, or the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series is off next week. Is off a week from tomorrow. As for Horizon, off next week. The next race for the Horizon IndyCar Series, March 25th from Mossport. And then we'll have Chicagoland on April 1st, Homestead April 15th, April 29th brings us Auto Club, May the 6th Texas, and May the 20th it is the Indianapolis 312 or 500K for double points. We do want to thank all of the people involved that make this possible. 4D Racewear and Topes Soaps, especially the fans in the stands. Thank you so much, all of you, for your chat engagement. It was absolutely great hearing from all of you. As for me, I want to make sure I thank the people that really make it possible: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and the nurse that unloads you when you get there. Ryan, we thank them all. God bless you all. Everybody, have a great night, and we will see you at the next one. Have a good one, everybody.
Strap in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes shoes, hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low, I'm blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 40 in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 40 on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 40, 40, 40, it's different. Yeah.